is incredible. I mean, it's just like we start scratching the surface with these guys, and we end up realizing there's like books worth of. Yeah, I mean, there's already books, but I'm saying it's just like people. This isn't just wild, man. Farside.
Let's get to Warren G.
Yeah. I want to let's just talk about Farside for 1 second here, because I'm like I said.
I'm gonna go with your man. Then I'm gonna jump there because we're right at the Warren G. Let me.
Okay. Sure.
So what had happened was working on Poetic Justice. I was in the Death Row studios a lot when Dre was working on stuff, trying to get the song delivered that we're gonna get, which ended up being the Dog Pound song that's on the Poetic Justice soundtrack, right? But like first it was supposed to be a Snoop song or whatever. That didn't happen, right? Snoop's on the song, you know what I mean? But and then when he finally did deliver the song, had a Bobby Womack sample in it that didn't clear. And then I had to go back to the studio and be like, Dre, the sample didn't clear. Can you reflip it? And he really didn't want to do it. And to be honest, that's probably how I met Warren, because then I was kind of like, it was kind of my job to just kind of like spend time up there trying to get Dre to do this song. Not a whole lot, but I stopped by a few times. And that's when one time I did it, I met Warren. And Warren was like, hey, cuz. He's like, who's this white dude? You know what I mean? He works for John Singleton. He was like, hey, cuz, I got my own. Because he, as we find out later, and I didn't even know this, this is after he got totally kind of like screwed by Death Row. He brought in Snoop and Daz and Corrupt and everything. And then they went out on the tour, and he went to the airport, but they didn't have a ticket for him. He's going and he's sleeping on people's floor. I don't know if you've seen the G-Funk documentary, but
wow, I need to.
This was all after that. And he's still hanging out like busted, broke. Everyone else is kind of on. They're at Death Row. They're not really getting paid, but you know what I mean? They got apartments. They're signed. Everybody like this, And so he played me. We went to my Ford Explorer truck. And we put in a cassette, and it was Indo Smoke, Mr. Grimm Indo Smoke. And I let it play through like the beginning to like the hook or whatever, just like about 25 seconds, 30 seconds. I just ejected. And he's looking at me crazy. And I was like, this is fire. Like, can I keep it? I want to play it for John or whatever. And he's looking at me like, you played it for 30 seconds. Like, you didn't even listen to it. You know what I mean? I'm like, he's like, okay.
That's an undeniable song. Like, that's one of those songs. It just starts and you're just like, okay.
So he was like, okay. And then I called him the next day with John. And so then we started managing Warren, really as a producer. And then, and there's too many RIPs in the story. And then RIP Chris Lighty, who was with Def Jam at the time, had the label, he calls me and goes, yo, who's the dude? I had sent out videos of the Indo Smoke video to like my 50 industry insider homies, right? And Chris Lighty was one of them. So he called me and he goes, hey man, who's this the kid in the second verse or whatever, rapping in the song or whatever. I go, oh, that's Warren G. That's Dr. Dre's brother, Snoop's DJ. And next thing I know, Russell Simmons just called me, and I have a label with Def Jam. And so, I executive produced with Chris Lighty his first album, and it came out on Def Jam. Yeah.
Holy smokes, man. That's incredible. So Regulate.
Yep, I was in the studio.
So is Michael McDonald, is he aware? Like, how did you come up with this? Like, I'm a huge yacht rock guy, and I love Michael McDonald so much.
Warren brought a lot of samples to Dre, famously, and then Dre flipped them. You know what I mean? But like, right. Warren's a digger. Warren's a sampler.
So he pulls in this like Michael McDonald record, and you got it's another one of these like.
Man, I'm not trying to take credit for nothing Warren did in the studio or any of his process or anything like that. That was all Warren. You know what I mean? Like, Warren just came in. I remember when we recorded it, I was at the studio, Track Studios in the Valley, and Nate and everything. And I mean, I knew it was phenomenal, you know what I mean? But, and that song was one I knew was phenomenal too. He was weird too, because it doesn't have a hook. It's like one of the only big pop songs that doesn't have like a vocal hook, But I knew that was
interesting that you mentioned that. It's not. It's just like Nate Dogg just sings his verse.
Like the whistling or whatever. Yeah. But and that song was crazy drama because, Nate was signed to Death Row already, and then Warren was on Def Jam. So it was like they had to share it or it wasn't even going to come out, And then it got leaked on the Big Boy or whatever, and it went crazy, and it was like over.
So was there ever any interaction with Michael McDonald about the song? Like or he just cleared it right away? Like, did Michael McDonald get super rich off that song?
Hell yeah, he made bank off that song.
Mm-hmm.
You know what, man? I don't remember the sample clearance process on that song, but it must not have been too hectic. You know what I mean?
Right.
Somebody at Def Jam has a better.
Sure, yeah, let's do it. Okay.
You know, Leor Cohen was really actively involved in manhandling that whole situation. So I was just kind of like, you know, a puppet on a string out in LA.
Yeah.
You know.
It's crazy because like that song specifically has like so many like, you know, legendary sort of rock people are on that Michael McDonald track. Like the musicians playing on that track are like, it's all the Toto guys are on that track. It's just like it's an insane song on its own. And then for Warren to flip it and make a whole new hit is just remarkable.
It sounds like a Doobie Brothers song kind of too, right?
Right. It's got that Doobie bounce. So funny. Warren G, the man.
Never thirsty. Never thirsty.